What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid. Apologies for being 3 minutes late getting started. Had to give my cat his medication after his fun time surgery. The $2,500 surgery. We're going to rip, that was weird. We're going to rip a couple drafts at least tonight. Hopefully my internet isn't glitching out a little bit here, but we're going to pretty much jump right into this. Just sending my lineups to Spike Week. Let's do a quick little, I got a little Saturday night beverage, little bottle of wine, little wedding wine from my wedding from last summer. So we'll get a nice little drizzle of that. It's Saturday night, so you might as well have a little drinky poo, you know. All right. So it's we're gonna look at getting different. That's why I wanted to upload my lineups to Spike Week. So my Spike Week tool is live and accurate for when we're drafting. So let's jump in. Let's jump right into a draft. That's all we're going to do. We're just going to do a little Saturday night draft sesh. So I'm probably going to go with the little board. I've got 34 more entries. I'm definitely going to max it. And it's going to be the one that fills up first. Big board, we got 18.2%. The war room, I think I have 2 more. Unless someone in the chat, if you want to draft something specific, let me know. But I'll probably do the little board. Just because, again, I gotta get going. I gotta fill up before the tournament maxes. 50 max entry, 100K up top. So let's jump right in. If you're in the chat, you want to draft, let's go. Let's get in one. And then waiting on 10, so tons of room. Water's fine. Cheers. Happy Super Bowl Eve. For a lot of people, this is the end of football season. For me and other sickos that are watching this show, it's kind of the start of the season. This is actually my favorite time of year. Realistically, I like the whole new prospects, the rookie draft, the combine, Senior Bowl stuff, Shrine Bowl stuff like that. That's my favorite. And you know, underdog drafting, big board drafting. I think if you put in the work, which I know that I do, if you put in the work, it'll pay off. You'll have some correct takes, things like that. So yeah, hopefully it pays off for me. That's obviously what I'm going for. Waiting on 9. So again, tons of room out there if you want to, you know, Super Bowl Eve draft. Let's get her going. But there you go. Next episode, which will probably be Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday after the old Super Bowl hangover, probably wait till Tuesday to stream again. And that's going to be, we're going to focus on some value. I think there's at least, you know, 5 or 6 players that I think are going to shoot up draft boards. And those are the guys that I'm focusing on getting, and maybe I'll get some exposure. I've talked about CeeDee Lamb a fair amount, but there's some other guys as well that, you know, maybe I'll get some exposure to and kind of touch on it in this episode, this draft. But if not, on Tuesday, that's what we're really going to focus on. Jason Calhoun, the Huron River Rat, I believe is your name. I clicked too fast. Is your username on Underdog? I clicked too fast. It was the last one in this draft before this. Sorry, man. Yeah. It turns like sometimes I'm the last one to get in, and then no one can get in with me, and that's kind of annoying. But sometimes we're waiting a little bit, which is what happened here. So I don't really recognize anybody in this draft. There's been a lot of nonsense, including, again, the last episode we had, one of those, the first draft I think I did with all that Kansas City nonsense, which we're seeing a lot. It's all over Twitter right now, but that draft got canceled. So kind of a good thing. The second one didn't, which it shouldn't have. But then I did another draft after that off stream that I thought would be canceled as well. So far, it hasn't been, but there's a lot of craziness going on the Underdog streets right now. A lot of kind of badgeless, either like brainless zombies just clicking buttons, or they're purposefully trying to sabotage things. So we'll see, but hopefully that does not happen here and we get a proper draft and it all works out. But that JLC KC got booted from Underdog. He did over 100 drafts, all KC. Wow, man. Yeah, that's extremely frustrating. I don't think I was in with that guy unless it's this. I like that was the guy I think that the fantasy dog pound that Pat drafted on stream with. The guy that I was with, I think his name was like Clem8 or something like that, something weird, but that was a guy that that got that draft thrown out. So that was super annoying. I probably would have taken Gibbs there just to get a little bit of exposure. You can see my percentages are updated. I still just think it's CeeDee Lamb. I really need to get some neighbors in this contest and in general. Same thing with Devon Achane. I need him in this contest and just overall. But I won't be drafting second round Ashton Genty. I won't. I'll make up for it in the big, best ball mania season if I really have to. But I won't. I'm a guy that I'm the guy. Whatever. I didn't draft zero Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 1-2 turn. 0 shares. It just did not make any sense. And I'm in a similar, boat with Ashton Genty right now. I just don't think he's worth that draft capital, especially when we don't know where he's going. I'm not going to be the one clicking his name until he falls to probably the 3rd round, which might happen in Best Ball Mania season when some of these running backs start to fall down the board. I don't expect Barkley, Bijan. Well, maybe these 3 will stay in the 1st round. But we'll see. I think Genty, McCaffrey will probably slide down a little bit. I think Jacobs, Irving, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown is falling, and I think he'll continue to fall again as we get into kind of Best Ball Mania season after the NFL draft. We'll see where that kind of lands. Putt Daddy, what's shaking in the chat? What's happening? Got my first Chase pick, but we'll see if it gets tossed. The 8th spot started with Kyler Murray, 2nd on Kirk Cousins. Fuck. It's just so frustrating. I was just saying, maybe before you popped into the stream there's a lot of just absolute nonsense going on in the best ball streets right now. I really don't know why. Oh man, even Jacobs going there is a little much, but Ben Haskell, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out on a Saturday night. Yeah, that's definitely early for Josh Jacobs, but nothing egregious. So do what you want to do. I might just get. Oh no, it's Tyreek here. 0 shares in this tournament so far. That's no question. I was gonna say I might take AJ Brown to get some exposure, but I have 0% Tyreek, and he's one of those guys that I'm gonna focus on in the next episode. That probably on Tuesday or something like that. Tyreek is a guy that's gonna shoot up to probably 1-2 turn at least. He's going to shoot up to the 1st round. If not by the end of this tournament, then definitely by Best Ball Mania season. Ben saying JC 14-12 got banned. He was going crazy, drafting all Chiefs. He had 4 Chiefs RB room with me. Yeah. Jason Calhoun was talking about him. Over 100 drafts. He's saying all KC. That's nonsense. I just don't either guys are just completely ill-informed and don't know that it's not a playoff draft, which is like, clearly it's not. If you just look at the ADPs, you look at the players, you look at the draft, you can clearly know that it's not a playoff draft. Or you're just doing it on purpose to sabotage drafts. So either way, it's ridiculous and doesn't make a lick of sense realistically, and just drives me absolutely up the fucking wall. Drives me nuts when guys do that. There's really no need for it. It just pisses people off. So, yeah. Another guy, like I said, we're going to focus on the Tuesday channel or Tuesday stream is going to be JSN. So hopefully he's there. Wow, he is. This is a wonderful start. Honestly, this is borderline dream start for me. This is borderline the best start possible for me. I mean, yeah, realistically, I was going to say if I got CeeDee Lamb later, but it really doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter at all. So this is basically a dream start for me. This is if I could start every draft like this, I would. I would have 100% exposure to all three of these players if I could get them every single time. Yeah, I just think that there's tons of value with both Tyreek, and I think there's tons of value with all of these players. I think CeeDee Lamb shoots up the board to, at the very least, top 5. At least he should. Tyreek needs to be in the first round, which he is getting there. And I think, I'm going to try to gobble up some shares, but I'm trying to make this not that kind of a stream, that kind of a show, because I want to focus on that on the next stream, where I'm going to go through a bunch from a bunch of different positions. So we'll get into that. But again, worked out. And this is kind of, like I said, a dream start for me. I'm very high on JSN this year. The quarterback situation could be a little bit better, I suppose, but I think that Tyler Lockett will probably be a cut casualty this year. And, maybe they'll bring in another, rookie wide receiver, but it's not going to take away from either DK Metcalf or Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, we'll see where it lands. And then AJ Barner is probably, we'll take a look maybe at, maybe I'll pop that open over here. Let's take a look at Noah Fant's contract. I don't think he's under contract, or is he? Let's find out. We'll do it on the fly. Okay, he is under contract for this year. And he will be there. It doesn't make sense to cut him. So he won't be a cut casualty for sure. So never mind. I guess, to be honest, both of them might not be a super wonderful pick as an AJ Barner, Noah Fant, because they're just going to gobble into each other much like they did. And that's just kind of the Seahawks MO at tight end. But, the point of this stream was to even out some exposures. And that is what I plan on doing. But I mean, I'm going to have to take Worthy here. Like, I just think it's Worthy over Flowers or Jamison Williams. I think Odunze should be going ahead of at least Williams and Flowers. So hence you see my exposure there way higher. DK can make some sense, but I'm going to go Xavier Worthy. And then, we've talked about him a couple times, Travis Kelce, the Travis Kelce situation. Is he coming back? Is he not? Whatever. Now today, he said he's got, I got a lot of good football left in me, and, I'm going to be playing for years. Literally said that, years. I think he's got 2 more years left on his contract, but now he comes out today and says he's a little undecided still and might depend on what happens on Sunday. So he's still off my board. I should have 0% exposure to Kelce. I do. And that's going to stay that way. I'm not going to draft him until I know he's coming back, because realistically, he's been dropping statistically for the past 3 years in a row. And I wouldn't be shocked at all. I still wasn't drafting him even after he said that he's got years of, good football left and whatever. I still wasn't drafting him because I don't quite believe him, and then here we are. He comes out today and, throws a little bit of mud in the water again. So I'm just going to hold off and continue to hold off and see what happens. I still think if they win the Super Bowl, he three-peats and he rides off into the sunset, and him and Taylor start, pumping out some babies or something. I don't know, but I don't believe him, if I'm being honest. So let's see if we can, like I said, even out some exposures. Waddle I wouldn't need. Although it would make a lot of sense in this build. So maybe I still take him. Chris Olave, even though I think it's a really shaky quarterback situation, obviously. And then, even, head coach situation, it's probably Kellen Moore, but the quarterback situation is pretty finicky, pretty dire. Man, it kind of has to be DK or Waddle. And I think it's going to be DK just, again, to even out the exposures. And I'd rather, or do I go Tua? It's either Tua or Geno. So let's go Tua. Let's go Tua, because I don't have much of any Tua. And I have some Geno where I have DK and Smith and Jigba. So let's kind of even it out that way, even though I'm getting a little more exposure to Waddle. I still think that's fine. And then that takes Kenny Walker off the board for me, which again is fine because I have tons of exposure. Mahomes is on the board, but I'm going to push him because he falls quite often. So if I can push him to pick 78 in the 7th round, I'll do that. Trevion Henderson exposure is out of control, which is going to stay out of control. It's going to stay out of control. I'm telling you, I'm going to live by the sword, die by the sword on that. But I do need to add in some more Caleb Johnson. I like him as well. I think he's my number 3 running back. Again, stay tuned as I get a little more. Well, pick 58 is fantastic value for Metcalf. That's awesome. As we get further down the, closer to the combine, I get through some more rookie tape and stuff like that, and finish up my rankings. I'll show that again. Smart to push Mahomes. Damn, you're pissing. Love it. Yeah, typically, did I say that or did I just think it? But typically, I don't start 5 straight wide receivers. This is not a common start for me, if I'm being honest. It just kind of fell into my lap. I usually Worthy wouldn't have been there. Usually Waddle and DK wouldn't have been there. So I would have taken a running back or something like that, but definitely not purposeful. RB is overvalued in the aggregate. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing though. Like, I don't think that's a bad strategy. I checked him out. Yeah. We can talk about him if you want. I'll give you my take in a second here, but I don't think it's a bad strategy to go early running back. That was my strategy last year in the big board. Was to go early, veteran running backs. Like I was very high on Saquon. I was very high on Derrick Henry. I was very high on those not Joe Mixon, but those two, and then some other guys. But I was very, very high on running back personally. And that's how I was drafting. I was doing 2 quarterbacks, 2 top end quarterbacks, 2 top end tight ends and running backs heavy. And then I was just pissing at the end of drafts. If you go watch some of the episodes, which I don't expect you to do, it's not as quality of content. And even here now, like it's still wide receiver heavy for me. And I might as well get some Jerry Jeudy in my life to, again, get some exposure, a little bit of ADP value. But I don't like, unless I go Judkins, which I could do. I have 0% there. Let's do that. Let's get some Judkins because I definitely do like them, but not as much as some of those other rookies. I kind of am finding that right now that running backs are pulling up draft boards. So I'm going to adjust. So yeah, I guess you could say they're overvalued, but I don't think it's a bad strategy. I just think that there's tons of value. Honestly, I think there's tons of value everywhere except for quarterback. I'm pretty hard and firm about getting 3 quarterbacks by, basically Justin Fields by like right here. Justin Fields, maybe Darnold if I have to, maybe Geno Smith if I have to, Russell Wilson if I have to. But other than that, it's Richardson is my 3rd quarterback, maybe Tua in this case, Penix, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not high on the rookie quarterbacks as it sits right now. But I think there's value everywhere in the draft, again, except for at quarterback, in my opinion. Yeah, RB smash last year, especially the vets. Could happen again. I'm higher than most on this year's RB class. I know everyone's high on it, but I'm like Steve-O in the 90s high. Yeah, I'm pretty high. I'm pretty high on this running back class as well, as you know, with my my Henderson take. I think this is a good spot to bring in Pollard. I do not have nearly enough, and I think he's quite viable. Jalen Warren's been popular in this contest for me, not as much overall, but definitely in this contest. So I don't need to go down that route. Could go with Ridley, but I really just don't need it. So let's go Pollard. Like the elite QBs, except for Allen. Why don't you like Allen? Is he a little too high? Goes a little too early for you? I mean, you can't not like Josh Allen as a player. 400 fantasy points. I like the rookie QBs I like the rookie QBs. Well, the 2 that I think will play. Yeah, that's fair. Like, honestly, I won't be drafting Shedeur Sanders at all in the early big board. I will not draft him, period. I haven't yet, but I might get some Cam Ward in my life. I did draft him in the stream last episode that just got thrown out. So I went back to having 0 exposure to Cam Ward, but I will probably have a little bit of Cam Ward, but I won't have zero Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, he probably will play, but I'm not drafting him. I think Dart could be straight up better than Shedeur. Yeah, that's very possible. I haven't dug into the rookie quarterback tape yet, and I will, but just off of what I've seen so far, yeah, I could get on board with that Jackson Dart take. That's for sure. I promise we talk about Harold Fannin, and we'll get there in a second. I gotta, what am I gonna do here? Bo Nix is probably right at the top of my board. Mind you, I am pretty high on him in this tournament, not overall, but in this tournament I am, which means I suppose I could zig. Dak Prescott would make sense in this build so far. Definitely, obviously, Tua. Kyler, again, in this tournament, I'm heavy on him, but not overall. Not as much overall. That's weird. I'm behind on Bo Nix in this. I'm not out on Allen. I just think he's going too high. Fair enough. Yeah, like if he goes, I saw him go in the first round a couple times. As long as he's in this third round, right around here, like this is perfectly fine. Him and Lamar should go in a similar area. I think Jaden Daniels is a little bit inflated. Mind you, I'm a massive Jaden Daniels fan. Where are we going with this pick? Don't want to go Jonnu, not going Kelsey. It would have been nice if I got Patrick Mahomes to fall into my lap. Might go Mooney, I guess. Let's go, or Matthew Golden. Let's go Matthew Golden. I do still have to watch his tape, and I am lower than most, but I'm going to start picking up a couple shares. Where am I at on him? That's my first share. So, yeah, I think I have him in a slow draft somewhere. So I am going to pick up a couple shares here and there of Matthew Golden just based off of smart people. I don't often like to do that, but I'll do it in this case. And then I'll probably go Ramondre, I guess, pretty begrudgingly, but I'll probably take Ramondre. They just paid him. It is a new coaching staff. And the biggest thing is they just paid him. Like, he's going to obviously be on this team. They're going to have to give him the ball. And the new coaching staff doesn't really have anything to do with the fumbling issues. There goes Stevenson. That's kind of annoying. Let's bring in probably Tyler Warren. Most likely. Yeah, let's bring in Tyler Warren, my tight end one, and it's really not particularly close for me. Let's check out the chat. He could be a better version of Will Levis. Maybe Jameis Winston is like an 80th or 90th percentile outcome for Dart. Yeah, he could be. He could be similar to Levis. I'll have to dig into the tape. He made some pretty good throws to Trey Harris anyways. Watching Trey Harris's film. But I'll have to dig into it a little more myself. I thought he was going to go absolutely berserk this year coming into the college football season. He played well, and maybe he would have played a lot better if Trey Harris was healthy the whole season. So maybe that's not, an unfair knock against him. But yeah, I'll have to watch him before I make any sort of comps or have a serious take on that. I think the chances of Dart playing are way more slim than people realize. I don't hate that take either. I think every single one of these quarterbacks, probably including Cam Ward, but definitely including Shedeur Sanders, I think all of them should sit in their rookie year, at least for a season. Yeah, I think it's going to be to their detriment if they don't, but we'll see how that goes. Dak makes all the sense in the world. I'm glad I don't have a crazy amount of exposure to him in this tournament, lower than my average, but I think he's a guy that's going to rise for me. I am behind it running back here, but I can't really force it, and I don't think I can push quarterback. Got Goff, Mahomes, Kyler, Hurts, Burrow. Maybe I can push them. 3 quarterbacks in between. If Brian Robinson was there, I probably would have pushed him. But since he's gone, I think I just take Dak here. We'll see. But I'm pretty much just going to take Dak here and make it easy on myself. I don't know. The league has a dearth of quality QBs these days. I think he definitely gets a shot unless he gets drafted specifically as a backup project, a la Jordan Love. I say this all the time, and I really try to reinforce it every single time I bring it up or we talk about it. There's not 32 quarterbacks in the world. There's not 32. That's why Jameis today said he's one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the world. You know, you could make that argument if you're Jameis Winston. Realistically, he's shown that he can play at the NFL level. And there's not 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. There's not. So, we'll see. Like, he's going to get drafted. He's going to get drafted early, and he's probably going to get a chance to play just mostly because of injuries. Like, we've had record amount of quarterbacks starting games the past 2 years in a row. So it's almost certain that he gets into some games at some point. Plus, fans, owners are impatient. So I wouldn't doubt for 1 second that we see Jackson Dart in the NFL this year. Whether he's ready or not is another story. What kind of quality starts those will be are another story. We'll kind of have to see on that one. But again, I haven't watched tape yet, so I don't want to come hard and firm with a take just yet. But I probably, in the early big boards, I will not be drafting Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders. I know that already without digging too much into the tape. But I would probably go Cam Ward, but we'll see where that lands. It's either Cam Scatabo or Devin Neal. I'm definitely higher on Devin Neal than I am Cam Scatabo. And I'm lower on him in this tournament. So I'm probably just going to go that route and stick to my guns, stick to my take. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let's go Devin Neal. Ben says Titans, Browns, Giants, Jets, Raiders, Steelers, Colts, Saints are all spots he could get a legit shot day one. Yeah, I don't think that should happen. There's also, in that same conversation, there's Jameis Winston, there's Justin Fields, there's Sam Darnold, there's Mac Jones that no one ever talks about. He can play in this league. There's Mac Jones. There's potentially, you'd have to trade for him, but Trey Lance. There's a lot of, Russell Wilson, right? There's a lot of veteran quarterbacks that are going to eat up a lot of these spots as well, right? And then you bring in a Russell Wilson and you drafted Jackson Dart sort of a situation. You play Russell Wilson as long as he's healthy, right? And then, if he's not, Jackson Dart gets a shot sort of thing. So how many spots are there really going to be? Probably two or three, maybe, right? So we'll see where that lands. But again, I think Jackson Dart will get some play at some point, but I don't think he'd be particularly ready for it just off of the little bit I have seen. I just don't think he'll be, ready for it. Dark legit is a one-read quarterback. He's talented, but he's got to learn the more. Probably if he goes to some coach I really like, I think he could be good. Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it. Oh, man, this guy took 2 on me. That's really annoying. I guess I shouldn't have pushed him. Does he have anybody? No. Cool. I guess he has HN, but all right. I guess I'm going. I don't know what I'll do here. Probably Anthony Richardson just to pull it back. I don't necessarily need Jake Ferguson, but I wouldn't mind him. 0% Richardson in this tournament. So I will just take Richardson here. There goes Lawrence. Could go Bryce Young, I suppose, and then still bring it back with Coker. Jatavian Sanders is there late, so I can stack him up. Or I just wait for Justin Fields. I guess that brings Geno Smith back into play. What which makes me wish I drafted DK instead of Waddle. But let's go Anthony Richardson here and then hope that Jake Ferguson falls to me. Cam, Shadur, even Dylan Gabriel, smart processors of the game. I've seen them do it. That translates to NFL. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel's just way too small. He's not going to be anything for me. He's quality backup probably, but he's 5'10". He's just way too small. He's a smart kid. He could be a good backup, but he's not going to be an NFL quarterback. That's it for me. I think Cam and Shadur should sit a few weeks, but a whole season would be a wasted season. I don't think that's ever a case, man. I really don't think that's ever a problem where it's a wasted season. I would never say that about a rookie quarterback. These guys it's a different animal. It's a different animal, man. This is the men's league. It's a different animal. Unless you're like, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams even struggled to some degree, right? Number 1 overall pick. He struggled a relative amount. Bo Nix, he's got the size. He's got all the talent. He didn't particularly struggle, but there's not a lot of that. Like that was an unprecedented type of literally a record-setting quarterback class last year, right? So there's not a lot of them, and it takes a lot. It's not easy, and I don't think Shadur Sanders can do it just yet. I think he should sit. Yeah, I'd be fine for an entire season. I really would. I really, really would. Cam Ward, I think, could probably get it done, probably. But Shadur, I don't think so. I really don't. I'll have to see a little bit more. Once I watch tape, I'll have to see more that I like out of him. But as it sits right now, I would be fine. If I was a fan of like the Raiders, which is probably the most likely landing spot for him, I'd be fine if he sat all season. I really want to. I'm just going to pick Justin Fields here. I got Ollie Gordon's down here. I want one of these 3 running backs. I'm just going to hope that one is there. Justin Fields is going to be starting somewhere. That's for sure. So, Ben, I'll get to that 2 seconds here. Would you have stopped at 2 QBs with Tua? No, I still would have probably brought in Fields or Richardson. Hopefully that's not my fatal flaws. I like to stick with 2 quarterbacks whenever possible. Don't hate it, but it's just way easier to take 3 when you have 20 rounds, right? And, Tua, Dak Prescott, even, Richardson, all guys that are relatively injury prone. If it was, different quarterbacks, I mean, we talked about that this last stream. I need to get more exposure to 2 quarterback, 2 tight end builds, and then just going ham at either running back or wide receiver. I don't really care which one. But yeah, really focusing on getting some more exposure and getting that into my portfolio. I fully agree, and I love the strategy. I think it's a very, very, very viable strategy. That was my number 1 strategy last year in this tournament. But I just think there's too much value in these middle rounds with these quarterbacks, like round 8 through essentially 13. Yeah, round 8 through 13. There's just an absolute bevy of quality quarterbacks, but a lot of if I'm taking 2 of those guys, any of these quarterbacks, I wouldn't feel extremely comfortable. If I have Josh Allen and one of these guys, Lamar Jackson and one of these guys, right? Joe Burrow and one of these guys, sure, then I stop at 2. But if I'm taking only 2 of any of the names you see in purple here, I want 3 of them. I really do. I don't like Gabriel that much, but he's a sharp quarterback. Yeah, that's what comes with experience, right? I'd like to see a lot more quarterbacks. I was super happy that Cade Klubnik, what's his name at Georgia, stayed in. He declared, and then he ended up staying at Georgia. They definitely needed to stay, right? Drew Aller. All-state, wonderful decision, fantastic decision. Stay in college, get experience, and then, the NFL's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I would have taken Freiermuth right there. Done at quarterback for sure. I'm probably going to pick Harold Fannin on this team, so we can talk about him in a second. Let's go Ray Davis. I need some Ray Davis in my life. I like Algier, but I like Ray Davis as well. So let's get him some exposure. And this might be a Harold Fannin team. Ben, so we'll get there, let's say right now. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Harold Fannin. I really liked what he did. He was about half the production last year. He led the nation in receiving yards and about half the production at Bowling Green. They stayed in that game they were in that game against Penn State till pretty late in the game, thanks mostly to Harold Fannin. And that's a quality defense that they went up against. And the rest of that team, like Bowling Green isn't a horrible football school, but it's certainly not, the SEC. It's not the Big 12, right? But for them to stick around and hang and bang in that game against Penn State against a very, very quality defense, and Harold Fannin went absolutely ham, that was pretty impressive to me. My comp for Fannin is Jonnu Smith. I think very, very similar. He's still he's not number one for me. Tyler Warren is my number one tight end, and it's really not that close. It's really, really not. It's a very, very, very talented tight end class, in my opinion. But I really think that Tyler Warren is just the cream of the crop for sure. So he's either 2 or 3. I have Colston Loveland as the number 2 in my rankings. That doesn't mean that I think he's going to be the second best fantasy producer as a rookie. Yeah, I might just take Harold Fannin right here. Give me 2 seconds. I see some stuff in the chat there. 87. He seems to be falling. Can I push him? Do I want to push him? Who else do we got here? Do I need to push him? I'm definitely drafting a little more Yoshivas right now, who might be a good pick right now. Let's go Yoshivas first, because these guys might need some quarterbacks. 3 tight ends, 2-2. Yeah, let's push Fannin, but give me a second and I'll complete my thoughts and takes on Harold Fannin. So yeah, he's Jonnu Smith was my comp. Probably like 4.5 speed, I would say. We'll see what he runs. Looked good at the Senior Bowl in the game, in the practices as well. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Harold Fannin, and I think he probably does like it. Oh yeah, that's where I was going. So Colston Loveland is my number 2 in the rankings because I think long term he will be a better tight end in the NFL. Again, long term, he's got to learn a few more things. I don't think he's as complete of a tight end as other people seem to think. I think Tyler Warren is absolutely complete, and I think he will be the tight end 1. But Colston Loveland, former wide receiver, he basically, realistically, he just transitioned to tight end a few years ago, basically when he got to college. So I think he's got some learning to do. And, my comp for Colston Loveland is Mike Gesicki. So very similar, big slot type of guy, very athletic, good looking kid. He can definitely play. But really, I actually think that it's not that far between Terrence Ferguson and Colston Loveland. I don't think there's a huge difference there. I really, really don't. And I could honestly make the argument that Terrence Ferguson is more NFL ready right now as a tight end than Colston Loveland. As a tight end, he can just do more, I think, in the blocking game, things like that I think Colston Loveland's going to have to kind of learn a little bit. And then Fannin, he is a better blocker, so I think he's more NFL ready. But again, long term, I think Colston Loveland's my number 2 as far as NFL rankings. Tyler Warren, how I have it ranked right now: Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Harold Fannin, Terrence Ferguson, I believe, is my 4. And then like Gutter Helm is really good. Who's the other guy? There's another guy who's quite good. Mason Taylor. I like Mason Taylor a fair amount. Nice Harold Fannin fell to me, so that's an easy click. Missed a few comments. Let's get back to the chat. Hopefully that soothes your soul there, Ben. He just looks like the most special player on the field every game. Yeah. I mean, again, he's the number one focus of that offense. The whole offense revolved around Harold Fannin, but you still got to get it done, and you still got to get it done against good teams. Like I said, he did against Penn State, which I was very happy to see, because that's no joke. So I also have Warren as tight end 1 in this class, but I have Fannin closer to Warren than he is to tight end 3. Again, hopefully my explanation made that make sense. I don't disagree with that as far as like this year's best ball ranking or just fantasy ranking. I probably would put Fannin ahead of him. But long term, I think Colston Loveland will be a guy. I really, really do. Get rid of that. I'll jump back to the chat. I just got to finish up this pick. We need one more tight end at some point, and that'll probably be my Colston Loveland comp, Mike Gesicki. There's been some chat. There was some chatter on Twitter about my guy Savion. I don't really need to do much, so I might just bring in Gesicki here. I don't really have to push anything. So let's just bring in Mike G, who I think goes back to my Bengals this year. Where are we? Here we go. Loveland lands with old coach Harbaugh, and he will smash. Yeah, that could happen. They need a tight end. You know, Will Disley looked good, but he dropped some key passes last year, especially in that playoff game where it mattered. I just think like to be an NFL tight end and inline blocking, you know, do it all tight end, he's got some work to do. Put him in the slot right now? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I have him comped to Mike Gesicki. You give him a similar role to Mike Gesicki, yeah, he'll be good. He'll be more than fine in the NFL for sure. But it's hard to say that, you know, that's going to get him on the field as a rookie. So we'll see. I'm still very high. I really like Colston Loveland. Don't get me wrong. But again, I don't think there's too much difference between Terrence Ferguson and Colston Loveland as it sits right this second. Loveland is better than Warren, in my opinion. He just never had the QB play. Never had the QB play. You're not wrong with that. Never had the system play. You're not wrong with that either. Excuse me, I had to sneeze right there. Snuck up on me. But Warren can just do more. Warren can just do more, in my opinion. If that's your take and you like Loveland better, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. That's for damn sure. Anyone that says they're never wrong or, you know, their take is always right, don't listen to them because they're liars or they're bullshitting or they're not worth really listening to. You always have to leave room. Like I always say on this channel, a few things I always say on this channel. But one thing I always hold fast and true is you have to leave room for the fact that you could be completely fucking wrong, completely wrong. And I leave the door open for that always. I could be completely wrong on that. But that's my take, and I'm going to stick to it. And I encourage you to stick to that take. If you think Loveland's better, draft as such. That's all I ask, though. Draft as such. Yoshi could be nice if T moves on, even if he doesn't. But I don't think T Higgins is coming back. I'll get into that in a second. I'm going to go Audric Estime and look at my exposure. I'm fine with keeping it there. It's ridiculously high. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's absolutely going to have a role on this team. Kind of glitched out right now. What's going on? Hopefully I get him. It's not working. That's unfortunate. Hopefully I get Estime. Okay, cool. That's weird. Couldn't update my queue. Yeah. I think T moves on for sure. I really, really do. They're just not going to give him the money he wants. If he gets over 30, sayonara. C'est la vie, man. That's how she goes. It's not going to happen. The Bengals aren't giving him over 30. I don't want to give him over 30. He's not worth that for me. If someone wants to pay him like a wide receiver 1, thank you for your service. and have a good career. I wish you all the best. But I'm not. As a Bengals fan, as a football fan, there's not a chance in the world that I would pay T. Higgins $30 million plus. Not a chance. The break point for me is like 28. If it's 28, it's close. If it's 26, no question, sign him. 27, yeah, let's get it done. Just get it done. If it's 28, all right, I'm starting to, I don't know. Depends on the structure. 29 still kind of depends on the structure. Look how this thing is glitching out over here. But 30, I'm out. 31, 32, I'm out. Thank you for your service. Gunnar Helm was great considering his QB play. Also, yeah, I really don't like Quinn Ewers at all. Really don't like Quinn Ewers. I will draft 0 Quinn Ewers. Don't like him. Don't want anything to do with them, if I'm being honest. Man, hopefully this thing isn't still glitching out. I need one more wide receiver and one more running back. I could maybe get away with 7 wide receivers, actually, which isn't a bad strategy here. I might just go with 2 running backs. Let's go Damian Martinez. Unless my Jordan James. No, I have enough Jordan James, more than enough Tootin. Where's my Jarquez Hunter? I'm fine there. So let's get some more Damian Martinez to even out that exposure. And then probably Antonio Gibson or LeQuint Allen. I should probably get a little bit of exposure to, but I really don't know if it's necessary. I know some guys in the chat like LeQuint Allen. I still haven't gotten around to watching Kyle Monagai, and I need to. He had 2 very, very productive seasons at Rutgers, and Rutgers isn't the worst school in the world. So I really do need to check him out. 2,000-yard seasons in a row. I do need to look into him. What else do we got here? I guess I just get one of my guys. Probably not Tootin because too much. James, I have a lot. Where am I at with Jarquez? Yeah. I just take one of these guys and it doesn't really matter. I guess I'll prioritize James and Hunter over Tootin, but that'll be the last pick. Gunnar Helm, yeah, I like Gunnar Helm. I think he was my 5th ranked. After I think Terrence Ferguson is really quality. I really like Terrence Ferguson. If you haven't checked out his tape, go take a look at it. He's going to be good. I really don't see much difference between Colston Loveland and Terrence Ferguson. I really, really don't. And I think Terrence Ferguson might be more NFL ready right this second as a tight end. Again, not necessarily as a that's more of a real life football take than a fantasy take. But I guess this is a fantasy show, so maybe I should be more clear on my takes sometimes. Again, with the Harold Fannin, Colston Loveland thing. I do use my rankings when I'm drafting, obviously, but there's a little more nuance than that. So yeah, I would, especially at cost, I'm still going to get some Colston Loveland in my life for sure. But I think Fannin might have a better rookie year stats wise. But Gunnar Helm is fine. If you really like him, then go nuts. I might get a little bit of shares here and there. I wouldn't be opposed to drafting Gunnar Helm. That's for sure. I'll probably get some exposure, especially in the big board where it's 150 max. And Mason Taylor as well. He is pretty pro ready, played as a true freshman, looked really good as a true freshman. So it's Jordan James or Jarquez. Let's go Jordan James. And then we'll leave it there. We'll review the team, then I'll get caught up in the chat, and then we'll jump into another draft. So give me a second here. We're definitely back on the chat. So we got Dak Prescott, Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields. So 2 running quarterbacks where I don't really need any correlation. It's not the end of the world. If I do, if I don't, whatever, it's not a big deal. So I like that. I don't mind having those 2 naked quarterbacks. Dak Prescott stacked up with CeeDee Lamb, and that's it. I would have liked to have gotten Jake Ferguson, but it is what it is. Quinshawn Judkins, Tony Pollard, Devin Neal, Ray Davis, Aldrich Estime, Damian Martinez, and Jordan James. Little rookie heavy, little light. That's why I went with 7. But I think I can get away with it. I think I can with volume, hopefully, as long as Tony Pollard is one of those guys and Audric Estime is what I think he's going to be in that offense, then I should be okay. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Matthew Golden, and Andre Yoshivas. I like this quite a bit. I'm still unsure about Matthew Golden. I got to go watch tape again and just make sure and solidify. A lot of people are saying he's better than I think he is. So I'm going to have to, take them at their word and dig into the tape again and be sure on that. Tyler Warren, my tight end 1, Harold Fannin, my tight end 3, /2. And then Mike Gesicki. I like that room. Little thin, I guess you could say. You could definitely say it's a little bit thin. Obviously, Mike Gesicki's getting pushed down because he's a free agent, but I fully expect him to be a Cincinnati Bengal unless they draft Tyler Warren, which I just think, knowing my team, like knowing the Bengals, they're going to draft defense, maybe offensive line, but it's probably going to be a corner, almost certainly a corner or a up the middle plugger, a defensive tackle. There's a lot of them in this class, maybe an edge rusher, but I think they get it done with Trey Hendrickson, and they throw a lot of capital at edge rusher, so they should be okay. It'll either be a big defensive tackle up the middle or a defensive back, almost certainly. And then I think Mike Gesicki will be back. So that's the squad, decent looking squad, but let's get caught up in the chat and then we'll jump in another one. So if you're waiting to jump in, hang on for a second. Let's get caught up in the chat here. This might be the best tight end class we've had in quite some time. Don't disagree with that. I really like a lot of the guys. Once I have my rankings completed, I'll share that, but I'm pretty hard firm with what I have so far. If Higgins comes back, is Yoshi worth the pick? I'm seeing other drafters that won't touch him. I don't know why you wouldn't. He's improved the last 2 seasons. And the Bengals, again, I know my team. I really, really do. They're they reward their own. They draft 2-3 seasons ahead of time. I really, really, really do not expect T. Higgins to come back. He's going to be asking for 30 plus, and the Bengals are not going to pay that. They're just not going to pay that. I guarantee it. And they drafted Burton. It's, Yoshivas can be that guy. If they bring back Gesicki, they draft a running back, or they bring someone in free agency. I just really do not see T. Higgins coming back. And I do think Yoshivas, at the worst, he's probably going to be what he was last year. I really do. So I think, at the end of the draft, where is he? A 17th round pick, 16th maybe round pick? Where did I just get him? I think you can do a heck of a lot worse than that. Pick 184. Yeah. He's worth a 16th round pick, whatever it is, right about that. In my opinion, as a massive Bengals fan, even if he just does what he did last year, you're fine. And there's tons of room for him to grow and explode on that. And he's clearly expand on that, I should say. He's clearly a red zone target for Joe Burrow, right? In that offense, 6 touchdowns last year, 4, I think, as a rookie. 6'3", 205, runs 4.4, former track star, decathlete or wherever he was at Princeton, smart kid. Yeah, he's worth the pick, in my opinion. Now it's probably a bad pick if T comes back, that they're outs with injuries, he could step up. Yeah, I mean, even if T comes back, I think it's a fine pick. I really do. And it's worth the risk in these big top 8 tournaments, especially with Bengals correlation. Yep, for sure. Very fair. I know most people prefer Loveland, and that makes sense long term, though. I will say I'd still bet Fannin for career too, but I'm a slappy. Yeah, Harold Fannin slappies exist. That's fine. You can lead the charge. You can drive the hype train. I'll be somewhere in the middle of the train on Harold Fannin, maybe towards the front, but I'll be on there. I'll be on there. We got to get you out of Savion. No, I finally got, who was it? Matt Miller on Twitter. finally someone else like Savion Williams. Finally. He just put out a tweet, kind of pushing Savion a little bit. And I love to see it because, someone else has got to like him besides me. That's the only other person I've seen touting Savion Williams, and he's got like 50,000 some odd, tons of subscribers. He knows what he's doing. He's an industry guy. So I'm glad to see someone in the industry finally noticing Savion there. Team's a lock to advance. My team, maybe. Yeah, I hope so. I appreciate that. They tried their best to replace Yoshi with Jermaine Burton, and I don't think he's safe at all. Not necessarily. I think Burton was there to replace T. Higgins. Again, that's always how they draft, always at every position, everywhere on the team. They always draft 2-3 years ahead. So whenever like Mims was drafted to start this year. He wasn't supposed to start last year. He ended up being the starter, but he wasn't supposed to. Now he's the starter this year, right? That's always how they do things. So they still have a small market mentality. They really do. And they draft as such. They don't trade a lot. They're very, meat and potatoes type of franchise. Again, I've been a fan of this team a long time. I know this team. I know how they draft. Mark my words, 100% the Bengals would draft either a defensive back or a defensive tackle in the first round this year. Mark my words, 100%. And Jermaine Burton was brought in to, potentially replace T. Higgins. I think Yoshivas is there to kind of replace Tyler Boyd. And that took a little bit of time. I think Charlie Jones was too. They kind of hedged their bets as well, especially at defensive back and wide receiver. They hedge their bets. They double tap a lot of times. So Burton, Charlie Jones, Yoshivas, right? They'll probably draft 1 or 2 wide receivers this year as well that are very similar. I could see a guy like Matthew Golden, honestly, being a Bengal. Couple guys, realistically, I could see being Bengals. Xavier Restrepo potentially, Jalen Royals potentially. There's a lot of guys. So I think that they will definitely hit wide receiver at least once or twice in this draft. But mark my words, 100% defensive back or defensive tackle in the first round for the Bengals. Guarantee it. Jermaine Burton, I think, was there to replace, T. Higgins. What about 30, but it's inventive heavy? What about 30? What is I'm way behind on the chat, so I'm not sure what you mean on that one. T. Higgins, when healthy, is top 5. So I disagree heavily. I really do. And he doesn't stay healthy a ton. He's shown his ceiling, in my opinion. So I could be wrong on that, but not top 5, but probably 10 to 12. Sure. Reek Lamp, Puka Chase, JJ, Nico, BTJ, Neighbors, all over healthy T for me. I agree with that. I would agree with that. Closest there is Nico Collins, in my opinion. T. Higgins would be closest to Nico than the rest of them. The rest of them I would put over him easily. Probably OBJ and Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra 100%. And AJ Brown when he's healthy, and maybe like a couple years ago, no question. I think there's some other guys I'd probably put in there as well, but we can go over that if you really want. Rookie RB, heavy, 0 RB, hero RB, going to smash this year. Yeah, I like the hero dual hero RB is where I'll be living probably with a lot, especially in these big boards, a lot of rookies. I'm very high on this rookie running back class. I know you are too. You and I have both done. You did it with Alvin Kamara. I did it with Derrick Henry, and then just filled out my room with rookies. And I think that's a viable strategy. I really do. Incentive heavy for T's contract if it's 30, but heavy on incentives. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't like 30 at all. I think he'll probably get 32. I really do, from someone else, but it won't be my Bengals, and I don't want it to be my Bengals. That's for damn sure. So I think someone will pay him. Given how weak the wide receiver class is in the draft, and there's some talent in the free agency class, but not. T. Higgins is probably the cream of the crop, and that's not saying much if you ask me personally. So with the draft class being so weak, someone's going to overpay for T. Higgins for sure. I think he probably gets about 32 30, maybe 34, up to 35 even potentially, depending on who the team is and how desperate they are. The Patriots potentially that have just a boatload of money. You never know. So we'll see, but I will be shocked and unhappy if the Bengals pay T. Higgins over $30 million a year. Let's jump into a draft. We're caught up on the chat. Does anyone want to do anything specific? If anyone wants to jump into a draft, let me know. We can do that. If not, I'll probably do another little board. But if you want to do a big board, last time we snuck in, or two streams ago, we snuck into a bigger board, which was fun, and I liked my team a lot. War Room we can do, but they're tough to fill. I only have 2 bullets left, but nothing in the chat. So let's do a little board. Waiting on one. We're in there. Huron River Rat. Hopefully you got in there, man. Hopefully you got in there. I think this wide receiver class could be better than we expect. I just don't know who, but someone or a few will emerge. Definitely. It could be one of those like Puka years, Amon-Ra years, where it's a 4th, 5th round, selection that goes to an excellent landing spot, good opportunity, right? I agree with that. I don't think that that's out of the question. Damn, Huron, if you're trying to get in, man, my bad. Doesn't look like he got in overflow. Sorry, man. Sometimes they fill too quick. Sometimes we're waiting. I think I know this name, Davin. I think I know that name. Doesn't look like there's anyone else I know in the stream. A lot of badge less, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, sorry about that, man. Yeah, I think it'll be a 4th, 5th round selection. That's why I like guys like Tez. I like guys like Tez Johnson a lot. I like guys like Ricky White a lot. If you like Harold Fannin, check out Ricky White. Very similar. He had about half of the quarterback production. Yeah, I think you're right. Ben. Dark Side, that's you, hey? I believe. I like Ricky White a lot. Again, about half of the quarterback production at UNLV for the past 2 seasons went to Ricky White, the third. Michigan State recruited, had a massive game against Michigan as a true freshman at Michigan State. Then for some reason didn't play at all the next season. Good Lord, we're doing it. I might just jump out of this and jump into another draft, guys. Looks like we might have one of those situations. We got Patrick Mahomes in the 4. I'm getting sick of this. I really am. It's really frustrating. This has just been happening way, way too much. It's really, really frustrating. Really frustrating that this keeps happening. I got a few shares of Ricky, 7% through 89 drafts. I'll have to check him out a bit more. Been hearing good things. Yeah, man, check him out. I loved his tape. Loved his tape. But I think those are the types of guys that Ricky White, 14% in this, 8% overall. So I need to bump those up overall, but I'm good in this tournament so far. But yeah, I'm a big Ricky White guy. But I think that's the type of wide receiver that's going to pop off. Like even a Matthew Golden potentially, even though he'll go higher in the draft. Who else? There's some other guys. Jalen Royals. Restrepo. There's a few other guys, right? And if you guys are going to keep giving me CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to take him. But we'll see what this Patrick Mahomes drafter does. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, I'm just going to jump out of this and maybe we'll just double table, I guess. But this is getting really frustrating. This stuff that keeps happening. It's really frustrating. Really, really drives me crazy, to be honest with you. Just waste everybody's time. And again, like if you think it's a playoff format for some stupid, crazy reason, like make it make sense, man. How would you think that? You're just ending up with the best team ever somehow and no one's drafting Chiefs? Like, what are we doing? But sometimes just drafting Patrick Mahomes isn't enough to get this thrown out right here. Like, we'll see what he does with his next couple picks. But I've seen that happen where, guys pick Patrick Mahomes first round thinking that it's like necessary, or, you got to get a quarterback early, maybe, whatever. So we'll see what he does, and then we'll kind of take it from there. But yeah, this stuff is just driving me absolutely bonkers. I hope Achan is there. Take Genty. Well, we'll see what this guy who drafts Mahomes in the first round does, because might just not care at all. And he takes Achan auto draft. Okay, let's go Drake London, who's just my guy, one of my guys, and I only have 14% in this tournament, so let's get him. This got to be like a DraftKings sabotage or something, because it's been out of hand the last week or so. Yeah, sounds like it, man. Literally, like, but you see that kind of shit on DraftKings, like stuff like that. How many drafts get thrown out? I don't draft on DraftKings personally. I only do best ball on Underdog. I don't think it's necessary for me to, go to DraftKings. If I like bink a big tournament and win a few $100,000 or something, then I probably would push out my, exposure and portfolio. Man, Kelsey, what are we doing, guy? Like, what are you doing? Yeah, maybe this is some sort of like DraftKings sabotage. Just bunch of bots coming in and doing this. Like, why is it happening? Why? I don't understand. And it's always the Chiefs, obviously. So one theory that's been thrown out there is, that people think it's like a playoff structure or a playoff tournament, which is like, then they're just really stupid, I suppose. I guess you could say that they're just really stupid human beings, and that's unfortunate for them. But I don't think it could be anything but, just nonsense and just wasting people's time. So he's going to take the clock all the way down and auto draft Juju Smith-Schuster. Probably Pacheco, actually. It's always Pacheco. It's always the Chiefs. There we go, Jalen Hurts. So maybe this might work out for us, and he's just dumb. And that's okay if he's just not, but probably not. Yeah, it's still Philly, right? Man, what's going on here? Like, who has a solution? Who out there in the chat, if you have a solution, let me know. I don't know what the solution is. Like some sort of better vetting process. I don't know. I don't know what we got to do here, but this is just getting a little out of hand, and it's just exceptionally frustrating. I will take T. Higgins in this instance. I will take Garrett Wilson to get some exposure. JSN, I'll probably put there. So I'll take JSN over Garrett Wilson, but I'll take one of the two. We'll see what this guy does. I just don't understand why people do this. This is another kind of dream start for me. Very similar, obviously, but I'll keep taking it as long as it keeps falling to me. I'll keep taking it. But yeah, this past week, you're right, man. It's literally been the last at least, 4 days for me, probably, that it's just been getting ridiculous. Just super, super, super ridiculous and very frustrating. It just ruins the stream. And it really sucks that it keeps happening to people streaming. Myself, Pat, right? I'm sure some other people. It really, really sucks for us trying to make some content and trying to have some fun and trying to draft with, viewers and stuff like that. And then this kind of crap happens and we have to just throw out the draft. So super, super frustrating. James Cook, I will take here. I'll take Kyron actually as well. Maybe over James Cook. Get some exposure. And then I don't mind DJ Moore, but I'll take one of these running backs first. This guy auto drafting, maybe. Yeah, I think he was. And he'll take James Cook, so I'll get Kyron. Yep. Okay. Now let's see what this guy does with his next 2 picks. If he takes Goddard, which I wouldn't be shocked about, and Pacheco or something, then it might be okay. I don't know. But you're right, Ben, man. It is weird like that it's always the Chiefs. It's always the Chiefs and the Eagles, right? I think again, that's why people are theorizing that it's people thinking it's a playoff best ball thing and they're just getting the best team ever and everyone's giving them the only teams in the Super Bowl, right? Like but then again, they're just really stupid if that's the case. So you're right. It's got to be something intentional because it's all new users. And there he goes, Devontae Smith. So again, it's not enough to get this thrown out yet. So I guess I just keep drafting and see what happens. But it's just so obvious and frustrating. So you're right. It's almost like, yeah, someone's sabotaging because it's all these new badgeless accounts and they keep it's different ones like that up. I'm not going to scroll all the way up on the stream, but JCL or JLC or whatever the heck that guy's name was. The guy for me was like Clem 8 or something like that. Now we got Mellow 28, right? It's all these new and there's different accounts. I don't know if Underdog can block like an IP address, but I mean that's pretty easy to get around if you know somebody's motivated. If it is like a sort of sabotage, and there's friggin' like I mean, in all honesty, if the guy stays close enough to ADP and this doesn't get thrown out, I love it. It's a free square. Thank you so much. Right. So I'm happy with that. But I don't know. We'll see what he does. We'll see what he continues to do. It's just so frustrating, man. So frustrating. And again, there's tons of people on Twitter. Ben, you were talking about it. What's his first name? Sean Mitchell. He was tweeting about it. It's just endless examples of people tweeting about it, seeing it, having it happening to them, and just getting pissed off. Obviously, let's go Kamara. Something's got to give. Something's got to happen. I don't know. It is out of hand, and it's just super frustrating. Super frustrating. And I don't know what the solution is. But let's just see. So if he's, as long as this idiot stays relatively somewhat close to ADP, then keep doing it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what we do here, guys. Frustrating. We might start another draft and just kind of two-table this thing and just not even really pay attention to it. But yeah, it probably is getting tossed. Super frustrating. I don't know if you just joined, but I've been pissing and moaning for the last 10 minutes at least about this nonsense. Honestly, so far, it's not enough to get tossed. It's not enough yet to get tossed. We'll see. Again, so if we'll draft another couple picks and see what he does. If he starts taking 200 plus ADP, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kenny Gainwell, shit like that, right? Then we're going to start a new draft, and hopefully it doesn't happen to us again. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's the theory. That's a theory, but again, like Ben's saying, like maybe it's just some sort of sabotage. Because again, if you think it's a Super Bowl contest, then you're just really stupid. You're just a really, really stupid human being. And then there's something wrong with you. And I feel bad for you. And that sucks. Like that you're that unintelligent and you're just really dumb. You don't stand a chance in this world. I'm sorry. That sucks. But I don't think that's what it is, man. Because you just looking at the tournament. I guess let's go Sutton. I don't know, set up a Bo Nix, but we'll see if this continues. Like, just look at the tournament. You just think that everyone's giving you these Super Bowl teams. There's no way that you could actually think that, right? So, like, I don't, that just doesn't make sense, right? I think it was brought up last year, but maybe some kind of ADP limit within 2 rounds. I mean, that's not okay either because there's injuries and then guys shoot up boards, right? So, I mean, that was what I was thinking about last night. I was literally thinking about this last night because it's happening so much and I'm seeing it all over the place. It's happening to me left, right, and center, right? I was thinking about something like that as well, where, yeah, maybe it's call it 2 rounds, 3 rounds. Let's go 3 rounds, 4 rounds, even. Let's go 4 rounds. I'm actually okay with that because then you can't really sabotage. And if you are, then you're an idiot and you're a free square. So let's call it 4 rounds, 3 rounds, 2 rounds, call it whatever you want. Let's just set a limit. I'm down with that. And then make player exceptions. So let's say, there's an injury to Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier flies up the draft board, right? Make an exception for Tyler Algier. You know what I mean? Maybe that's all I can think about as a solution to this because it's getting fucking ridiculous and it's getting out of hand and it's pissing off a lot of people. A lot of people. What did he do? DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, it's just so obvious. Like Ben said, like it's got to be some sort of bullshit like sabotage or something. I don't know, man. Yeah. No way. So they would think everyone else is just an idiot taking players. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like there's no way that you're the only smart one out of a room of 12. Like if that's your thought process, then again, you just don't, you're not like, you don't stand a chance in this world that you're that stupid that you think you're the only one taking the 2 teams in the Super Bowl, right? Like there's no way. There's no way. Like there's no way. I'm not convinced that anyone could be that stupid. I'm really not. Like I know there's a lot of stupid people out there in the world. But you can't convince me that anyone's that stupid, really. You know what I mean? I guess let's go Calvin Ridley, but I might just jump out of this and jump into a new draft, guys, because this is too frustrating. If you reach 100 ADP or so, def gets flagged. Yeah, I know. Now with the DeAndre Hopkins, this will probably get thrown out. Realistically, none of this is bad enough to get tossed out except for this pick, which might not make it bad enough either. Honestly, this might stick. This might stick. I've had a bunch happen similar to this, and they have not gotten tossed yet. I'm not saying they don't, but they haven't gotten tossed yet. They're not exceptionally egregious just yet. Sabotage for who? They're just mad someone else got their guy in round 1. Maybe. I mean, you're pick 4, man. He was pick 4. Who is he hoping to get? Like, if you look at ADP, what are you thinking? You're going to get Jamar Chase at 4, right? Like, it's just always new badgeless guys. So it seems like it's on purpose. Sabotage by like DraftKings is a theory, right? It's possible. Look at who is super quick to throw prize picks under the bus today. Who was that? DraftKings, right? Was all over, that 7 assists for Chris Paul thing with prize picks. And then all of a sudden prize picks is reevaluating the 7, right? Like, it's pretty clear that there's a lot of competition in this space. Let's go Bo Nix. Like, unfortunately, I have to kind of keep drafting this. Kind of just in case. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's really frustrating. This is really frustrating. Maybe I'll just draft this one on my phone and we'll pull up a new draft. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Help me out, guys, while you're here. Smack the like. Let's rip another draft. Anyone want to do anything specific? Let's do another little board. I'm going to pull this one up on my phone. And then keep just kind of drafting it. Let's just set a bunch of cues here, so I don't really have to pay too much attention to it. And then we're going to jump into a another little board. Dodson, yeah, okay, this is so frustrating. I don't know if it's really DK. Just seems strange. I've been using Underdog for almost 3 years now. This came out of nowhere. It's happened occasionally. Yeah, 100%. Like now it's way too often. And I know this kind of shit does happen on DraftKings a lot. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it seems like very obvious that someone or some group or something is doing this same thing over and over and over again. No one, there can't be this many stupid people out there that are just that hopeless and helpless in the world. There can't be. And it's always new users, and then they get closed down. Like there can't be new people popping up every day that want to draft this way. There just can't be. That's just not possible. That is not possible. That there can be that many stupid people out there. I don't believe that. So I don't know who or what it would be, but there's something going on and it's really ridiculous. So again, we're just gonna set some cues here. Jeez, yeah, I mean, no, I'm just gonna auto this one. I'm not even gonna bother. Let's get out. Let's draft another one. Let's jump into another one, guys. Jump into another little board. We'll take our chances. 3 left. Waiting on 3. FFPC bans users by IP address. Underdog needs to do the same if they're not doing that already. Yeah, definitely they do. They definitely do need to. If they don't, and if they are, keep doing it. But again, there's ways around it. Like just get a VPN. Like there's ways around, doing that. If they are actually like trying to sabotage, it's like, why, why do you have that motivation to try to like sabotage drafters? Just people trying to play fantasy sports. Like I don't get why, like what the motivation is. But again, it's just like very clearly it's continuing to happen, and it's not just one user, 2 users, it's across the board. There's tons of people talking about it. It's a big point of contention right now, really. Like it's really frustrating people a lot, and it's going to turn people off. Again, like maybe that's why it could be someone like DraftKings, where it turns people off of drafting on that platform, right? Because that kind of shit already happens on DraftKings, and people are turned off of their platform. That's a big reason why I don't draft on DraftKings, because nonsense happens on there all the time, right? And drafts get thrown out left, right, and center. And there's super teams all over the place because a bunch of close bullshit happens, right? So that's why I draft on Underdog, because like Ben said, like I've been about 3-4 years as well on Underdog. And this is the first time where it's really been a problem. The first time ever, even in these early big board drafts. It's last year, I don't think I had a single one, literally. I don't think I had a single draft thrown out last year. And that's not a hyperbole. I'm dead serious. Now, all of a sudden, it's every 3rd draft or every 2nd draft. Literally. I wish I were exaggerating right now. And it's really frustrating for people trying to create some content around this stuff, right? Like, frustrating stuff. We're waiting on 2. Hit the like button if you don't mind. Keeps me motivated to make content while we're trying to battle through this whole situation that we're finding ourselves in on this Underdog platform. So yeah, 16 people watching. I got 8 likes. I appreciate that, guys. Appreciate that. I agree. I did 700 plus drafts last year and had 2 thrown out. I've had 3 this year already. You probably had 3 in the last 5 days, man. Like me too. It's It's crazy. I think, yeah, and even over summer, even through a Best Ball Mania season, I think I had like, yeah, 2, maybe 3 get tossed out all summer, and I did almost 500 just over Best Ball Mania, just over the summer. So I probably did about roughly about 700 as well last year. And I, yeah, 2, 3, and I've had probably like 4 or 5 in the last 3 days. So something's going on here, and it's very obvious, and everybody's aware. Underdog's aware. I don't know what they're gonna do to fix it, but we got Huron River Rat in here. Appreciate that. We're on in the 11 pick. We got Rocket Fox 2022. Hopefully, just doesn't draft a ton, and that's when it was opened or something, and doesn't do some nonsense. Ethan PZ21, I live this. So we've got a few badgeless now. Like, I don't want to see badgeless in my rooms anymore. Whereas before it would be like, oh yeah, badgeless room, let's go. This is going to be good. Hopefully I can get some value, whatever. You're licking your chops a little bit when you see badgeless rooms. Not that badges mean everything, because they absolutely don't mean shit. We all know that. I say it all the time, and it's very true. Badges don't mean a goddamn thing. But when you saw those badgeless drafters, it's like, man, now I might get some value. I might, especially in these early ones, I might get some falling ADP value, whatever. Now when I see badgeless guys, I'm like, oh, great, this might get thrown out. Oh, sweet. They might go all Chiefs. Wonderful. Can't wait. Like the last 2 episodes, right? I did 3 drafts last show. 2 might get thrown out. 1 already did. Another one might, right? Tonight, this is the 3rd draft. 1's fine. 1 will get thrown out. There's your sample size right there. You know what I mean? Frustrating stuff. So far, so good in this one. The badgeless took Jamar Chase. We're good there. Jason Calhoun in the 5 pick, the 5 hole. See where he goes. We've got 2 more badgeless to get through, to cross our fingers that this one sticks and we can get some decent content out of this draft and pick a legitimate team. Neighbors will be super high on my list, or Achan. Let's just go like that, because one of those 2 will be my pick for sure, unless Amon-Ra falls to me, I suppose. Let's go like that. Okay, we're good. Other badgeless, okay, we might be okay on this one. Let's keep going. Neighbors for sure. Need to get some exposure there. All right, guys, we got a draft. We got a real draft here, we hope. Let's keep it going. If you're in the draft and you're in the chat, besides Jason Calhoun there, Huron River Rat, let me know. There goes Achan, that kind of stinks. There goes Henry, that's kind of stinks as well, but that's fine. Let's get a Brock Bowers share. No, let's get Drake London. I like Drake London too much, and there's tons of tight end value. And I am a little light on my exposure, so let's bump that up. Let's get Drake London. Try to just let it go. Let's just let it go. It gets me super, super heated. I just get so heated by that. I really do. Let's just move on, hey? Let's have fun. Let's get a little more of the sacrament here, eh? There we go. All right. Let's get back to some takes here. Let's get back to some football chat. Let's get back to having fun. Let's get back to drafting. So yeah, let's get back to the point of the show, the title of the show, even in outdoor exposure. getting some players that we don't have enough of yet and evening it out a little bit. So obviously Tyreek Hill, Jacobs, I think is just way too high. I think that ADP is a little out of control for a guy who had, 300 plus touches. Look what happened the last time he had 300 plus. He could be in some hot water with his teammates right now a little bit, saying they need a wide receiver one. Him and Dontavion Wicks had a tiny little back and forth on Twitter there. I think Bucky Irving's going a little too high. Looks like we're good. Looks like we're going to have a proper draft. Good to see. 1 out of 3 is what it looks like the law of averages is here. I would take T, but I would take Terry McLaurin over him. Actually, I would go Breece Hall, Terry McLaurin. It's actually JSN above all of those. So that's where I think JSN rises to. Like, that's why, again, it'll be next episode, probably on, let's say, Tuesday, I think, is when I'll stream again. Give me JSN over Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, not Jonathan Taylor. I would take Taylor above JSN as it sits right now. He should be going ahead of Ashton Genty and, in my opinion, Christian McCaffrey. So JSN's a riser. So it would be like this: JSN, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. I'm taking Trey McBride, as you can see by the exposure there. I'm taking Trey McBride ahead of these quarterbacks. And that's probably where I'll land. And he just did there. That makes sense. Good pick. Ahead of these quarterbacks. But then it would be the quarterbacks after Garrett Wilson, after Trey McBride. And then these running backs, I do have a little bit of Chase Brown, mostly in this tournament. Looks like only in this tournament, potentially. Excuse me. I could go DJ Moore. I always do this with Mike Evans, and then I always wish I had more exposure to him. Every year, almost every year I do this with Mike Evans. He always just goes in a weird spot in the draft. He's always in a weird area to me. But he might end up being the pick here, actually. We'll see. I would probably go DJ Moore ahead of him. I probably go Kyron over the 2. I probably go Lamar over the 2. Something like that is where I would probably fall in my rankings for this next pick. Nobody got out of line. No. Okay. We're looking all right. Again, talking about the Bengals, I think they definitely draft or bring in a free agent running back. So Chase Brown is still a fine pick, but not where he's going ADP wise, in my opinion. And I was exceptionally high on Chase Brown last year. Do I go DJ Moore here over Mike Evans, over Marvin Harrison? Yeah, let's do that. I have 0%, so let's do that. And then I can also bring in Roman Dunze, who's one of my favorite, but I am low in this tournament. So I can afford a little bit of Roman Dunze. I would have to pick him here, which I can do. Do I really want to buy in on the Bears? Sure. Let's buy in on the Bears. That's a little bit of a reach. I'm not really comfortable with that, but let's get a little bit unique. That's again part of the reason for the stream, for the episode, is to get a little bit unique, get a little bit different. I haven't seen a crazy amount of DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, and then bringing it back with Caleb. So that could be relatively unique, not just for me, but overall, because of where their ADPs are. You'd have to reach or get a huge value on DJ Moore, or pull up Roma Dunze is really what you'd have to do to accomplish it. So let's do that, because I have a lot of Roma Dunze with Cole Kmet and Caleb Williams. So let's get a little DJ Moore, Roma Dunze with Caleb Williams and, build that out. Because I do like the Bears. We talked about it a few streams ago about Caleb Williams. I do like the Bears with Ben Johnson coming in quite a bit. So I'm a buyer. And again, Ben, we talked about this a little earlier in the stream too. It's pretty easy to just piss yellow early now. The running back values are a little inflated. Like Chuba Hubbard's going to 41. You could get him at the 180s last year, and I was getting all of the Chuba Hubbard in the 180s last year. I think in the big board, I think I was like 35, pushing 40% of Chuba Hubbard. But now it's tough to justify that huge difference in ADP. I like the idea of reaching out one of the first 5 picks and getting a unique combo out of it. Yeah, you have to mix that in. Like I think I'm 11 picks, which is okay. 9 picks, even better. I like to be pretty hard and firm with 1 round of ADP difference. There's some data to back that up, but I mean, it's okay, especially in these early big boards, but yeah, get a little unique, pull a guy up, even, at the back end of the 1-2 turn, like if I was at pick, and maybe I should have done it in this draft, but I just really like Drake London. If I'm at the 1-2 turn, pull up Tyreek Hill. I would be fully on board with pulling up Tyreek Hill to the 1-2 turn. And I saw someone on Twitter posted it as well. So I'm not alone in that thinking, but I think that that's the kind of thing that you got to do right now to get unique and to like kind of stay unique, right? All right, we're going to go with a running back here almost for sure. I could definitely take Kenny Walker, who I really like. If not, then it's Alvin Kamara, maybe Hampton. Okay. I'd rather Kenny Walker anyways. We'll see if he's still there. Interesting. Not that this can't work. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is bad. This is bad strategy or bad process. I'm not going to say that. It's just interesting and it's different. So in the vein of getting unique, I don't mind that. Kenny Walker's the 100% click here. And then probably David Montgomery, if he's still there. Pretty hard not to just expect this out of him, at least double-digit touchdowns. Pretty hard not to just expect that out of him. Caught a lot more balls last year, which is interesting. Hovering right around that 200, point total. Guy you can really bank on week in, week out. Let's and I have 0 shares of him, so let's go. That was another guy last year that I didn't have a negative take on at all. He just was going in a weird spot in the draft. And even in this year, he's going in an odd spot. I like Kamara, Hampton, and Kenny Walker all above David Montgomery. But when it makes sense like it just did here, then yeah, I'm on board 100% with David Montgomery. So I don't have a negative thing to say at all. I just probably will be under the field, underweight on David Montgomery just because of where he goes in the draft. And then there's all these wide receivers that I like in this area too. DK, Waddle, Devontae even, Chris Olave is there. Xavier Worthy falls, Zay, I suppose. Cortland Sutton you could put on the list. Jerry Jeudy, right? There's a lot of wide receivers in this area. And sometimes, no, not quite this far, but, Joe Burrow's there, I suppose. Jaden Daniels was going a little bit later in drafts and right around the 50s early in the season. Wish he was still there, but he's not. And it doesn't look like anyone's getting out of line. I think this is a viable strategy as long as you stop at 2. I think that any more capital into quarterback for this team is not the way to go. That is overkill. That is a waste, in my opinion. I think you should definitely stop there. I would like this team a little bit more if he had Jonathan Taylor instead of Christian McCaffrey. Mind you, if Christian McCaffrey is Christian McCaffrey of old, this is an absolute smash team, right? In really good shape. There's another interesting, different, can be viable strategy. George Kittle, Sam Laporta. Again, you should be done. You should be done at 2 tight ends. You have to believe that those 2, top tier early pick tight ends or quarterback are going to be able to get it done for you. And how often is that 12th, 16th, 18th round tight end or quarterback, whatever it is, how often are they going to enter your lineup when you've got Lamar Jackson, Jane Daniels, George Kittle, Sam Laporta? The answer is not very fucking often, especially at the quarterback position. Maybe you might get a tight end, spike week, but what's going to be the difference in points? That doesn't make sense to me. There's another one, 2 early round quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Should be done. You absolutely should be done there. What's Joe Burrow's ADP here? 48. Yeah. Why would you pick Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrow? That's excellent value there, obviously. I would 100% take Joe Burrow naked there. I guess I could have instead of Kenny Walker, but just doesn't make sense. If he was there for me, I maybe still take David Montgomery. Hard to say. But right here, when you take Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, yeah, I mean, it is. Again, what I would do in that situation is try to balance out my exposure between getting Joe Burrow and not getting Joe Burrow. But it makes a lot more sense when, we know the schedules, and then you can take those as your bring back from the other side, or like a running back, wide receiver from the same team that they're playing in the week 17 or in the playoffs, right? So I would just balance it out. If anything, I would balance it out with having Joe Burrow and not having Joe Burrow. Is Higgins gone though? Yeah, he went to the first pick here. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and then he didn't take Joe Burrow. Instead, he took Jalen Hurts, which doesn't particularly make a lot of sense. If this guy's drafting a lot, then maybe he is balancing out his exposure between stacking, double stacking Joe Burrow with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Again, I don't think T. Higgins is going to be on the Bengals regardless, but a lot of people do think that. People are drafting as such. So again, I would just kind of balance that out. Oh yeah, I think he is gone. But again, there's a lot of people that think he's going to be back, and a lot of people are drafting like he's going to be back. I'm not. I don't think he will be, but there you go. Tony Pollard is going to be my click here. But a lot of people are drafting that he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. I just don't think so, personally. As a big Bengals fan, I do not expect him to be on the team. I would have went Jalen Warren there. I'm trying to actually pick off some Isaiah Pacheco here. I'm gonna zig when some other people are zagging on this. I'm gonna start picking off some Pacheco, especially when I have no exposure to him. He's gonna be on this team next year, 100%. Kareem Hunt might not be. They probably do either bring someone in or draft someone, almost for sure. But Pacheco was hurt all year. He was hurt basically all year. He broke his goddamn leg early in the year. And look at what Tony Pollard did when he broke his leg. He came back, wasn't as good. Now he's looking pretty good with the Titans, right? So I think this coming season, even in the Super Bowl, Pacheco might be an X factor. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna start zigging where people are zagging on Isaiah Pacheco and start picking off some shares. I think that, he could, let's say he is healthy, which he should definitely be, unless something happens in the Super Bowl. He should definitely be very healthy. What's the difference right this second between Isaiah Pacheco and Chuba Hubbard? What's the difference? I don't know. I don't think a lot personally. So if Chuba Hubbard's going in the 4th round and seems to be kind of staying there, I'm going to start picking up some shares of Isaiah Pacheco. Like Brian Robinson versus Isaiah. What's the difference? Well, Pacheco plays on a much better offense than both Chuba Hubbard and Brian Robinson, right? Not much better than the Commanders, and you could say the Commanders are a better offense. You could say that, but for running backs, the Chiefs are pretty juicy. So I'm going to start zagging where people are zigging on the Isaiah Pacheco thing. I think. I agree with you. I don't see how the money works out for both Chase and Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson's getting a raise. Joe Burrow can move some money around. Yeah. I think Mike Gesicki's going to come back. They're going to sink some money into that defense. I just don't think it makes sense to happen either. And the bigger reason, not only I don't think it makes sense money wise, cap wise, but the bigger reason for me is he's not worth it. Pacheco was asked though, he's not going to have a job this year. He's going to be on the team. He's under contract. He will be on the Chiefs 100%. And we know that they like him. I just think he was hurt. I really do. I think he was hurt all year. And he's always been kind of banged up. But early in the season, before he got hurt, he looked pretty good. He looked quite good, actually. Jarquez Hunter would steal his job if he lands in KC. Hey, you know how high I am on Jarquez, man. Jarquez is my guy. If he goes to KC, I'll be very happy. I think your guy, Taj Brooks, might go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Texas Tech, right? Texas Tech, Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech. They could use a running back like Taj Brooks, I think. I think he would fit perfectly in that offense, make tons of sense. So I think Taj Brooks might end up on the Chiefs. We'll see. Don't take that to the bank and don't start, throwing Taj Brooks up your rankings. But that was the fit that I had for Taj Brooks was Kansas City. Mind you, like any running back would fit with the Kansas City Chiefs, if we're being honest, right? So obviously I probably should have reached for Caleb Williams, but I'm going to hope that since no one has DJ Moore or Rome Odunze, that he slips to me. 2 quarterbacks here. There goes Jordan Love, so that's fine, unless this guy wants to take him for no good reason, which is possible. Badgeless. This guy absolutely doesn't need a quarterback, so he should not, but you never know. So my hope is to get it past I live this. And he does. Wonderful. So Caleb's the click. I don't even want to, fuck around and find out. Let's just, even though he should take Kyler if he's going to take anyone, but it's not like there's someone I have to pick right here, right? So let's go Caleb. I'd should probably be going wide receiver here, and I most likely will. And it's either Pittman or, oddly enough, Coleman. I guess I could go Bateman, but I have a hard time trusting him to stay healthy. He really hasn't for his entire career. Obviously, you're baking in that Coleman has a really nice breakout sophomore season. Let's go Pittman, because that keeps the door open for Anthony Richardson for me. So let's go that. I like him to mix it in. I'm not super high, but I'm on him, but I'm taking all the deep rookie RB shots. Fair enough. I do think Taj could end up there. I probably prefer Jarquez to Taj, but fairly even though. or my opinion. Fair enough. They're different players altogether. They're different prospects. They're different guys altogether. So they're not in any way similar prospects or players. So yeah, they would do very, very different things at the NFL level. Mind you, I think Jarquez has 3 down traits and Taj Brooks does not. I think Taj Brooks is a first and second down runner, and that's pretty much it. Maybe you could get like the absolute ceiling would be like a David Montgomery type, where maybe like 30 catches or something like that. But Jarquez, I think, could be a 3 down back. I really do. We'll see where he lands and if there's some opportunity there. But I'm high on Jarquez, as you know. They both got a wide range of outcomes despite different play styles, for sure. For sure. I just like I like the potential for a guy like Jarquez to break and latch on and get playing time more than a guy like Taj Brooks. That's why I'm higher on Jarquez, because he can do more. So, like, anytime you have more traits, sign me up for that guy, whoever it is. If you can crack the lineup as a punt returner, as a kick returner, as a third down back, whatever, if you can crack the lineup somewhere doing something, then sign me up. That's a big reason why I like Ricky White, the third wide receiver. He blocked 2 kicks last year. He wants to play on special teams. So if he can make a team 100% and playing special teams, and then get out there offensively and show what he can do, and then latch on offensively, and then, get taken off the special teams unit, perfect. And like by the end of the year, get removed from special teams because he's too important on the offensive side of the ball. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Yeah, Taj isn't too versatile, but back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons is pretty fun. Click. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. That's why I got to look into Kyle Monagai. So that's a guy, take a peek at. 2 1,200-yard, I think, rushing seasons for Rutgers. So check him out. That's a guy that I gotta look into. I've mentioned him multiple times, so I gotta dig in there. This could be a scenario. No, probably not, because it won't line up. I was gonna say this could be a scenario where I go Xavier Leggett and bring in Bryce Young, but the only way that would be possible is if he really falls, because it'll probably be Richardson here. Stack him up with Michael Pittman, and I can really stop there, and it gives me another quarterback, out. That makes sense to do that. It would have been Penix there, but I'm not going to pull up Penix that far. Yeah, there would have been Penix here, a couple picks ahead of ADP, right? Kellen Moore just got the job. Kellen Moore just got the Saints job. Breaking news on the channel. Kellen Moore just got the Saints job. If that does anything for your rankings. What am I doing here? Richardson goes. Fun. So then let's go Leggett. Yeah, I'm going to have to get creative at tight end, which is fine. Because Dak went, right? Yep. Okay, so let's go Leggett, and then we're going to bring in Bryce Young. The last 2 years, first overall picks, I should say. Let's do that. And then I 100% need a third quarterback, which will be probably Justin Fields, most likely. He's my favorite, QB3 to take. He catches it a bit, though, talking about Taj Brooks. Loving this draft. Glad no shenanigans occurred. 100%. Yeah. We'll break down your squad as well at the end of the stream here. This will be the last draft for the night for sure. It's a long stream, over 2 hours again. Appreciate you guys sticking it out. Hit that like button for me if you don't mind, if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you like the content, appreciate it. We'll be drafting all summer, basically from now until the start of the NFL season. So maybe there might be like a 2-week break between the end of big board season and the start of Best Ball Mania, Best Ball Summer, Hot Best Ball Summer Season 2. Definitely glad no shenanigans occurred. Wow, that's good. Kyle Monagai, is that who you're talking about? Potentially. I hope he gets a long leash. It's a tough spot. Who are you talking about? Pacheco, maybe? No? Pittman? Kellen Moore. Oh, yeah. That's definitely a tough spot. That's a horrible spot. It's a horrible job. No one wanted that job. Mike McCarthy said, I'm good. I'm just going to chill out on the couch, drink pops all day, watch football, and I'll try again next year. No one wanted that job. It's a shit job. And Kellen Moore sucks, man. Honestly, Kellen Moore is not a head coach, in my opinion. If I was a Saints fan, I'd be really unhappy about that. But who else is going to take that job at this point, honestly? Like, no one wanted it. No one wanted it. So he'll take a shot, and, I wish him well, but it's an uphill battle. That's for damn sure. Who's your quarterback? Who's your quarterback of the future? How much of a leash you're going to have, right? Your defense is pretty terrible. Your offensive line is in a bad spot. It's just all kinds of problems. The cap situation is just in hell and will be forever, it seems. Although Mickey Loomis is an absolute fucking wizard at manipulating the cap. There goes Justin Fields. That kind of sucks. I guess I could have gone with Cam Ward with Neighbors there. That could have been my first Cam Ward share. Like, when I get to this point in the draft, if I don't have some random stack, I guess I could go with Darnold here. But I'm not going to push it. Like, it's kind of Justin Fields for me. Or Justin Fields. It's Russell Wilson for me, because it really doesn't particularly matter. Wow, Colson Loveland is kind of falling, but not that he shouldn't necessarily. I'm not going to take Coker here, although it does make sense. I'm not going to take him. I'm going to take Pat Freiermuth over Cade Otton. Maybe I should have taken Cade Otton with the Carolina. Shit. I should have taken Cade Otton there because of the Carolina correlation. And it's close enough. I would rather Freiermuth. If I were talking rankings, I would have Freiermuth over Cade Otton. But with what I am doing here with the Carolina Panthers, it makes more sense to take Cade Otton, who I could still take. Yeah, I might as well, because I don't really need a running back. It's in a good situation. My wide receivers are okay. I'm not gonna force it with Sam Darnold. Why? I can get a bunch of, Sam Darnold, even Matthew Stafford if I really had to, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, I guess. So let's get Cade Otton. And then I'm definitely gonna try to bring in Jatavian Sanders if I can. I do want a third quarterback, but we'll figure that out when the time comes. But yeah, the Saints' job is garbage, hot garbage. Desert weather, Vegas weather in end of July, early August in the landfill, hot garbage of a job. It's a terrible job. But yeah, hopefully he gets at least 3 years. And realistically, he should have a long leash, because no one's going to want that job. Like, still, no one's going to want that job for some time until they're bad enough to get the first overall pick. And it's a good draft year for quarterbacks, which could be, after this season. Honestly, if I'm Kellen Moore, I do what I can to tank, because it's a very good year next year for quarterbacks. Should be. Maybe it won't be, but it should be. As it looks right now, it should be a very good year for quarterbacks. So tank, be the worst team in the NFL, which might not be too difficult to do. They're already that bad. So just let it happen and get yourself first overall, draft a quarterback, see what happens. You still have Chris Olave, you know. That's the strategy. If I'm Mickey Loomis, I try to dump as much salary as I possibly can, get out of cap hell for next year and the year after. And then Kellen Moore gets a real crack at it potentially. That's what I do if I'm the Saints. Like if I'm Mickey Loomis, he's safe. Mickey Loomis's job is pretty much never going to be in jeopardy. So he can get away with doing stuff like that people might, question. But realistically, it makes sense to do. So no one's going to really question him too much. Plus, it's Mickey Loomis. He's very good cap wizard. So yeah, I like not so secretly, completely try to tank if I'm the New Orleans Saints. I would have definitely went with Darnold if he was still there, but I'm never gonna push it. So it's pretty much Russell Wilson because I'm most confident that he's gonna have a job somewhere, probably with the Raiders, maybe with the Steelers, and possibly with the Giants. That's kind of how I will articulate it. I agree. It's best to tank 1 year. Yeah, just like they're not like honestly, they might not have to try too hard to tank. They're terrible. They're a terrible, terrible team. So just work the cap. That's what I would do. Just get out of cap hell. And then whatever happens, happens. You're like, honestly, the Saints are pretty close to a guarantee to be in top 5, if not top 3 next year. Picking the draft, obviously I'm talking. So yeah, that's what I do if I'm the Saints. Whittington would have been on the board. Yoshi Voss is on the board for me. Again, we just kind of talked about it. I could go with 2 rookies, but Braylon Allen is still on my list. I'm going to keep drafting Audric Estime, even though my exposure is a little out of control. I'm still going to keep drafting him. Tez Johnson as well. Let's go Yoshi Voss here. Like 6 this year and 60, like 1 every 10 targets, he gets a touchdown. At least, right? Over the last 2 seasons. I like Yoshi Voss, regardless if T. Higgins comes back or not. I like Yoshi Voss. And I don't think T. Higgins comes back, so that makes me like Yoshi Voss even more. Why would you do that? That doesn't make sense at all, man. I guess you need tight ends. That just hurts my feelings for you to do that. So we're going to have to take our boy again. Harold Fannin, welcome to the squad. We're done at tight end. I do need 8 wide receivers, in my opinion. Some AFC North would still be, NFC North with my Chicago stack would still be welcome, but it is what it is. I really would have liked to have gotten JT Sanders there to pair with, now I should have taken Coker instead of, and he gets 2 Carolina. Why? I guess I should have taken Coker over Pat Freiermuth now and then still gotten Cade Otton there. Would have been the right play, but I don't know why you would take 2 unstacked Carolina players. I don't mind the Panthers and I don't mind their offense, but I don't think it's a team where you take 2 unstacked pass catchers. Personally, I wouldn't unstacked. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's okay. Maybe he wanted Bryce Young, but he couldn't have got him. So I don't know what the issue is here. Why would you do that? You don't have NFC South teams. I guess you have Mike Evans and Godwin, but Godwin probably doesn't come back. I guess. I don't know. Interesting. All right. People have different takes. Maybe he really likes the Panthers, I guess. And fair enough, I suppose. We're pretty much locked into a 3-6-8-3. Not even pretty much. That we are 100% locked into a 3-6-8-3. And that's okay. It's going to be Russell Wilson because I know he's going to start somewhere. I'm going to keep gobbling up Audric Estime shares. I think he's a huge value here. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be wrong. He could be Jatavian Sanders' brother. I'll show you something if we have time. We do. I'll show you something funny if I can find the draft. I should be able to. I don't really name my drafts typically in early. Was it this one I did the other day? Yeah. Check this out. In the 3rd round, Baylor Cup. I think this was either Baylor Cup himself or his dad or his brother. I don't know. But that's, I was like, oh man, this is getting thrown out. He got pissed off, whatever. But he fell right back in the line. And nothing else didn't make sense. So it was weird. He just picked Baylor Cup in the 3rd for no reason. I like, did you misspell Cooper Cup? I don't know. Did you think that was Cooper Cup's brother or something? I really don't know. That was wild. I immediately, because it was $100 draft, right? It's a bigger board. I love my team, by the way, but it was a bigger board, and I got your boy Harold Fannin. So yeah, I'm a fan. You know that, but it's I got really pissed off, and then he fell right back in the line. It was really really strange. It was really really strange. Where are we? I got a big board, slow draft right there. Yeah, had to be a Cup relative, no doubt. It had to have been him, Baylor Cup himself, or maybe his dad or his brother or his uncle or something, maybe, You could have got him at any point in the draft. You didn't have to take him in the 3rd round, but, maybe just wanted to guarantee you got him. I don't know. Yeah. He's trying to renegotiate the contract. I don't know. It was baffling when it happened. It was definitely a bit of a shocker. I think I might get a little bit of Oh, I was gonna take Harvey there, maybe. Okay, we're not gonna do that. Let's go Estime. And then I'll take either one of Savion Williams or Tez Johnson as my 8th wide receiver. And I will take Tez because I have less of him. And yes, Dark Side Dev, man, I'm still picking Savion Williams. You cannot talk me out of it. I'm still going to pick Savion. I'm going to be overweight on him for sure. Unless something happens that really just takes him off my board or something. If something happens, I'll do something about it. I'll adjust, but he's on my board. I'm picking him still. Over 50% total, 57% in this tournament. Over 50% with Tez. Those are kind of my guys. They're kind of my guys this year. And you're not going to be able to talk me off that cliff. It just is what it is. Live by the sword, die by the sword. That's what I feel about. That's how I feel about that one. So we need one more running back, and I might try to take someone I haven't here again, trying to stay in line with the topic of the show. Harold Fanning, click, you're locked to advance. No doubt, man. No doubt. Hopefully I got a week 17 matchup, Tampa Bay versus Carolina. That'd be good. Or the Bears versus, I don't know, Atlanta. Giants. That'd be nice. Carolina. Bears, Carolina. That'd be okay. Something like that. Maybe Tez Johnson goes to Atlanta with Drake London and replaces Ray McLeod. And then I got Tez Johnson, Drake London bring back against the Bears. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Fannin takes wide receiver 2 role for Chargers. I honestly, like we were talking earlier in the stream too about Colston Loveland reuniting with Harbaugh, Harold Fannin going to the Chargers. I don't see them taking a big slot type of tight end. I could see them taking Tyler Warren. I could see them taking like a Gunnar Helm or a Mason Taylor or something like that. I think the tight end that they draft whenever they draft one, and I think they do draft one in this draft, I think he'll be a better blocker than both Fannin or Loveland are, in my opinion. We'll see. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I think. Unless they want to keep Disley as just like a blocking tight end and then have that big slot tight end, that's possible too. But I don't know. They didn't really use Stone. Well, they did use Stone Smart a little bit in that role. So maybe they replace Stone Smart with a better, big slot tight end. What's your draft tool? I couldn't see your tight ends in the team view. Here's my tight ends. The draft tool is Spike Week. The Spike Week draft hacker. I might have gone with the best ball overlay that Fantasy Dog Pound, part owner, or it's his product. I might have gone with that product just to support Pat, but I had already gotten the Spike Week tool before the best ball overlay came out. It didn't exist when I got Spike Week. I got an annual subscription to it. So maybe when this is done, which is I think in May, I will maybe move over to the best ball overlay. But right now it's Spike Week, the Spike Week tool. And I don't mind it, especially you can go on their site. It's very similar to the best ball overlay, I'm sure, in a lot of ways. I like this product so far. It doesn't mean I won't change. I don't know. We'll see. But I had it before it even existed. So that's, it's no slight against the best ball overlay tool. And then there's Legendary Upside has their draft caddy or whatever they're calling it, a draft tool as well that like tells you who to pick. Which I don't really care for. Like, I don't need you to tell me who to pick. Is kind of the way I look at it. But yeah, I guess it's helpful and could be good for some people. I just don't need that. And more depends on the price, if I'm being honest. And Spike Week was pretty expensive. I had not that they gave me a discount code. I literally just found it online. A lot of people don't know that. You want a discount code, just Google it. A lot of times there's a discount code that exists and punch it in and it'll work. So I did that. I got like 40% off or something like that. So anyways, long story short, Spike Week is the draft tool that I use. And it lines it up if you're correlated, right? So I'm correlated with Bears. I'm correlated with Panthers. I'm not correlated with Steelers, but again, Russell Wilson probably won't be there, but it tells you that. And then when, we know the schedule, it lines up correlation for weeks 15, 16, 17, that sort of stuff. So it's a cool tool. It's good. There's a lot of good ones out there really at this point. So pick your poison, whichever one you like. It's definitely a running back. Last time I took Jordan James. So this time I'll take Jarquez Hunter. Let's do that. Just try to even it out. There you go. There's the 20th round pick. Let's go over the squads. We'll give it a second and we'll go over the squads, at least mine and Huron River Rat, Jason Calhoun in the chat. If you're just popping in, hit that like button for me if you don't mind. Subscribe if you like the content. Come back, hit that notification bell. We'll be streaming basically, like I said, from now until the start of the NFL season next year, I guess we call it. This year, calendar year, but next season in September, right? So come on in. The water's warm. If you have any teams in the best ball playoff finals tomorrow, good luck to you. I have one team in the finals in the bigger mitten 2, $100 buy-in, bigger mitten 2. I can finish no worse than 8th, which is a nice feeling. And maybe I could get up to like 5th. I could make, depending on some things. If some certain things happen, other guys fall flat on their face, I could move up to about 5th, roughly. I can't win it, which sucks, but I was pretty accurate with my. Again, we talk about this a lot. Like we talked about it a few streams ago. You can be completely right and still not win money. It really sucks. You could do really, really well on your takes. Hey, a Kyle Monagai sighting. I got to dig into this guy soon to figure out if he's good or not. Yeah, no, I can't chop first. I can't do anything. Great draft and great show. Have a good Super Bowl weekend. Good luck. Thanks, man. You too. Take care. We'll see you next time. Appreciate you popping in. No, I can't chop first. I can't do anything. I only have 3 players. I have Saquon, Worthy, and Kelsey, which is nice. So I can finish above most teams. There's completely dead teams in the finals. There's probably a ton in every tournament. 23-seat final is what it is in the bigger mitten 2. And yeah, I can't finish any worse than 8th. So 8th, not too bad. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's like 2,400, something like that, which is nice. I'll end up making money in the playoff best ball for sure. I'll end up making a little bit of money back, but I lost money in best ball season, the regular Best Ball Mania best ball season, which sucks, but most people do. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm excited for that. So if you guys have teams in the finals, best of luck to you. Hopefully you make as much money as possible. Pad that bankroll. But let's go over these 2 teams, and then we're going to get out of here. We'll go over, I guess, mine first. Let's go over Jason's team first. So Josh Allen, Tua, that's a perfect example of stop at 2. That's a perfect example of good, no reaching. ADPs fall in line, right? I'm assuming you have correlation. We'll take a look in a second, but that's a perfect example of draft 2 quarterbacks and stop at 2. Even if Tua gets a little bit banged up, which he's obviously been known to do, Josh Allen's going to be in your lineup, 12 out of 14 weeks, including the bye, right? So you really don't need much more. So I like that. Well done. I'm happy with that. Jahmyr Gibbs, Caleb Johnson, J.K. Dobbins, I'm not drafting personally, but I understand the click. Ollie Gordon, I love that. Tyler Algier, I don't mind that at all. Woody Marks, sure. Woody Marks and Marshawn Lott, I think, are very, very similar and went to the same school. So don't hate either of those clicks, really. Don't mind the room. Good capital. Didn't get much ADP value, which is fine. Didn't reach a ton, which is fine. I think Ollie Gordon moves up even higher than pick 149, so that's good value. Got good value on Woody. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, I was crossing my eyes over here. Yeah, I don't mind that. Don't mind that room whatsoever. Tyreek Hill pairs up with Tua. Got double stack on the. Do you have Jonnu? Wow, this is a good squad, man. Well done. Tyreek Hill, Rashee Rice. I'm not in on at this ADP. I'm really not. I'm worried about the injury. I'm more worried about the suspension. I think this is too high of ADP personally. Devontae, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Dontavian Wicks, Wandale. I love that click there. Tolbert, that's perfectly fine. He'll be on the team. less high. Obviously, I'm less high on him than I was last year, but that's perfectly a fine click. I like this room. I'm not big on Rasheed, but I understand the click, and that all makes sense. I dig it. Johnny Smith pairs up, triple stack Bills, not a problem. Tyler Conklin, it's just a matter of where he'll go. He's a free agent. I don't think he'll be back with the Jets. Not that you really want him to. Honestly, you're probably picking him, that he is a free agent. Maybe he goes to the Bengals. Maybe he goes to the Chargers, something like that. So you're probably picking him knowing, obviously, that he's a free agent and taking that unknown, which is perfectly fine. But other than that, I like the room regardless. This is a good squad. I dig it. It all makes sense. Bills could play the Dolphins in the playoffs for sure. But I dig it, man. Well done. Good squad. Where's this stupid team? We got Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Russell Wilson. Yeah, I don't love it, but it is what it is. I kind of got locked out a little bit. I got a little bit of value on Caleb, so that's nice. Had to reach a touch for Bryce Young, but it made sense. I don't love this room, but I don't hate it, I guess. I could do worse, but I could be a lot better. It's a tough situation. Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Pacheco, Audric Esme, Jarquez Hunter. Interesting running back room. Again, don't love it, don't hate it. Pretty middling. This whole squad seems to be pretty middling, actually. I like Jason's team more than mine, to be perfectly honest with you. But that's okay. Malik Neighbors, Drake London, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, double stack Bears. Michael Pittman got sniped on Richardson. Xavier Leggett pairs up with Young. Yoshi Voss, Tez Johnson, rookie. Don't mind it. Again, relatively middling. Stronger than my running back room, stronger than my quarterback room, which it kind of better be. My first two picks were wide receivers, so it better be. But not bad. Don't love it. Don't hate it. Same thing with it's a very middling squad for me. Don't love it. Don't hate it. Pat Fryermuth, Kate Otten, and Harold Fannin. Very middling, very blah, very vanilla. It's a very beige colored team. Just very forgettable, if I'm being honest. But it is what it is. That's how she goes sometimes. But we're going to get out of here. Hoping that Conklin lands with the Chargers. Yeah, that could be definitely a spot that would make sense. He can block. I think that would make more sense than some of these rookies, to be honest with you. But we'll see where he ends up drafting, ends up going. I'm getting a little tuckered out here, but great job. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. So that'll be it for tonight. Appreciate you guys sticking it out through the yelling and ranting and raving about the, canceled draft situation. Hopefully, Underdog does something about that. I'm going to post that on Twitter and get some, juices flowing on that one. It's really frustrating, but hit that like and subscribe button. We'll schedule in another stream for Tuesday, most likely Tuesday night. Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. Good luck if you have any teams in the best ball playoff finals. Like I said, I got an 8th place or maybe a little bit better team, so that'll be nice. Pad the old Underdog account for best ball season. And like we always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Thanks for coming out, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great day tomorrow. Eat some wings and drink some beers. Be safe. Peace.